The story begins not in a Roman arena, but in a distant village, quiet, unremarkable, unaware that one of its children is about to vanish forever. Across the vast Roman Empire, boys were bought like cattle. Traders scoured conquered lands, Thrace, North Africa, seeking the young, the strong, the beautiful. They weren't looking for sons, they were hunting for investments in death. In bustling slave markets, these boys were inspected like livestock. Their teeth, muscle tone, and symmetry were evaluated with clinical precision. Not for health alone, for spectacle. Rome wasn't just buying BAWs, it was selecting canvas for blood-soaked art. Once purchased, the boy became property. Not a person, not a child, just an asset in the grand machinery of Rome's most grotesque entertainment industry. From the moment he was purchased, the boy's transformation began. At the Ludes or gladiator school, the kindness of a name was replaced by a number. His hair might be shaved, his language stripped, his identity erased. He was taught not to ask questions but to respond to commands, whipped for hesitation, starved for weakness, and fed only when obedience was proven. Some boys broke, some cried, some begged for their mothers. Rome had no use for them, but the ones who adapted, the ones who began to learn how to survive the daily drills, the forced sparring, the hunger, the discipline. Rome molded them not just into fighters, but into symbols. These weren't soldiers, they were sacrifices in waiting. It may seem strange, but even in this brutal system, a strange form of brotherhood formed. Gladiators, even child ones, often formed tight bonds. They called each other in the silence of the barracks, in the dark hours before dawn, training. They whispered their stories, their real names, their hopes for freedom. Older fighters might take younger ones under their wing, not out of compassion, but survival. Because, the more your brother survived, the more likely you survived. Some of these boys even found a twisted sense of belonging. The ludus was harsh, but it was a home where pain was routine, but also where identity could be rebuilt through strength, skill, and eventually through killing. The moment of transformation was not training, it was the first kill. Some boys were thrown into the arena at age 12, others even younger. The crowd wanted novelty. Innocence turned lethal. His hands tremble. The sand is hot, the opponent is real. This is not a drill, and then, the blade sinks in. The boy who once cried in chains has become what Rome desired, a killer. Praised by the masses. What follows is silence. Not celebration. Not peace. Just the awareness that something inside him is now gone. The first kill isn't just an act. It's a rite of passage into a life where murder is applause, and survival is currency. If he survives, and kills again, and again, he is no longer just a slave, he becomes a name. Rome loved blood, but it worshipped talent. Gladiator boys who showed flair, strategy, and charisma were rewarded not with freedom, but with fame. Their names echoed through taverns and amphitheaters. Young Roman women carved their initials into wood. Noblemen gambled fortunes on them. The boy, once bought like a dog, could now wear gold bracelets. His meals improved. He might even be gifted a woman for the night. Another slave. Of course, more often, boys were offered to men. He was still property, but now he was valuable property. Rome made him a celebrity, but not a person, because the truth was always this: his value only lasted as long as his blade struck true. Death in the arena was never just chaos, it was theater. Gladiatorial combat was scripted not in outcome, but in presentation. The way the boy entered, the way he fought, even the way he died if the moment came, was designed for myth-making. Some deaths were staged with music, some were reenactments of ancient legends. A boy might be dressed as a doomed hero, and when he fell, the crowd would weep for the story, not the child. Rome understood the power of ritual. Each death reaffirmed not only Rome's dominance over the body, but over meaning itself. The boy did not die as himself. He died as symbol of victory, of fate, of the empire's unshakable grip on destiny. But even in death, the boy's story didn't end. His name might be etched into graffiti. Songs might be written in his honor. Mosaics would depict his final blow. Same crowd that cheered his last breath might buy small clay figurines of him the next day. The myth of the boy gladiator echoed. He became a ghost used to train new recruits, used to scare disobedient slaves, used to thrill noble children who pretended to be him in garden duels. Rome erased his humanity in life, but immortal his death in art. And then, it began again. New ships arrived. New boys were sold. New trainers took over the ludi. And the process repeated, efficient, unfeeling, perfected. Rome had no shortage of conquered children. No shortage of citizens, hungry for blood. No shortage of coin to keep the machine fed. And so the boy, who once thought himself unique, was replaced. His weapons passed to another child. His bed, now filled by new feet. His story, now just another myth. But even myths bleed truth. And the truth is this: Rome didn't just kill slave boys, it designed them, conditioned them, celebrated them, and then erased them. From market to myth, the journey of the gladiator boy was not an accident of cruelty. It was a system. Ferox may have vanished into the annals of forgotten flesh, but his story remains carved into the bones of a system that never truly died. The empire changed names. The arenas became stadiums. The blood spilled now washes down digital screens instead of stone drains. But the machinery of spectacle remains. As long as men are conditioned to perform, to kill, to please, and to die, for applause whether in sand or spotlight, Rome's design lives on. Ferox was not the last slave turned myth. He was just the most honest reflection of a world that still trades souls for entertainment.